very, very much indeed. I'd like to start by thanking İhlas College for inviting me. This is my first time in Turkey, my first time in Istanbul, and I'm very sad because I will miss all of the fun. I have to go back to the UK this afternoon, and I can't come to the dinner. So I have left my cards at the front. If anybody has any question, you need anything at all, if I can be of any help, please do make contact with me. I've been working in this sort of thing with ICT, in education, in management, for a lot of years. I'm 50 next year, so I have worked for, say, 20, 25 years in education in ICT. And I've worked with Apple, and I've worked with Adobe, I've worked with all sorts of things. This is the very best conference I have seen for the presentation, the way of working. It is excellent. And I hope very much that I will be able to have a second trip to Istanbul. It would be lovely if this first conference had another conference next year, but we will see. So thank you very much, and I will begin. My job is very much to work with a school of 1,000 girls, but I have many aspects of my job. I also inspect schools, and I have worked for about 15 years in working out strategy for 1, 2, 3, 5 years ahead. And everybody here knows how hard that is in ICT and computers. So I will hopefully share my experience with you. My ideas are not me saying you should do this. These I would like to share, and I hope I will make you think. So some things are about what I have done. Some things are about ideas behind, and other things are about the importance of looking ahead. So I might have some things for you to think about that you might not agree with, but some things are correct for one person and some things are correct for another. So hopefully many people will think, that's an idea. So let us begin. I put my work into two areas. I put my work into the most important, the children, the teaching, the learning. And within that, I look at the capability, the skill, the creativity, the power of choice for children to be able to think and choose from a range of skills. And it's very, very important. They must be confident, and they must be ready for the future. So we try to think what the future will bring. But the other half, the other thing for me, is also the structure of my school. The thing that keeps the lights on, that keeps the email working, that keeps everything working for the teachers and the managers so that the classes can happen. So I have two strands, and every year, like you, I think, I have to say, please, can I have money? Can I have money to spend? Can I keep my network good? Can I have more things? Can I do this? And it's very, very important for me to keep a partnership with the wonderful industries and people that are looking ahead as well. And right now I must say for you that I do not get paid, and I do not take equipment. Any equipment we have is given back. So when I speak to you, there is not a company saying to me, you must say this. This is Kathryn speaking. So they need to get nervous. So it's very important, the two sides of the school, the teaching and the learning and the balance, to make sure you have high quality. And all the way through, I'm looking at high quality. But one of the challenges, one of the big things that is important really for our children now is the changing world ahead, the changing population, the changing way in which the jobs will be available for them, the different areas they will work in, and very much the fact that they are global children. They will move globally. If they do not move physically, they will be in a virtual world globally moving around and learning and also taking information. Now this is a picture of a library, and I use the example of an American man called Eli Nyberger. If you search for his name on YouTube, you will find 2 clips. And those 2 clips will describe a conference he spoke to, and he talks about how libraries will change. I'm interested in libraries, but I am more interested in information, content, books, and information and knowledge, and how we make that available to the children. And part of that is that we make it available in certain ways. Sometimes a book, an old book with important information, is so valuable, and to handle a book and turn a page is wonderful. Sometimes you need your iPad. Sometimes it is very important to see things differently. And very much 3D does that. And we use 3D a lot in school. It has only ever been positive. I have done many things with ICT. Some things have been very successful, some things have failed. And when I came to Texas Instruments and I spoke about 3D with them, I was very suspicious. I was not sure. I thought years and years, there's been money and things, and will this work? So I put it to my children and I put it to my teachers, and I will talk to you about that. This is one of the most effective, the most useful uses of technology that I have seen in the classroom, but in small amounts. In small amounts is important. So this is something from when I was very young. Some of the videos I have I won't run because I don't have the time. I used to, when I was perhaps 10 or 12, get up in the morning on a Saturday and wait for the television programs that were for the children. And while I waited, there was something called the Open University. And they used to play television programs in the 1970s to teach you over the television. And these were our first learning environments. And they were, to a certain extent, virtual. We have many ways of working with virtual information at the moment. iTunes U is very useful, and certainly in the UK, and this may be something you might want to talk to Apple representatives about, I don't know. In the UK, we are looking to see if we can roll this out to schools, that we can have, instead of iTunes U for university, there would be a school presence as well. TED, obviously, many people know about TED. It's very, very useful indeed. But the important thing is at the bottom, the business of learning, blending the virtual and the physical. Our children, and many of you here, have 2 lives. Actually, possibly 3. Home, work, and a place that you go to socialize. Sometimes that will be a cafe. Sometimes it will be somebody else's house. Sometimes it will be the virtual world, and you will be social networking or email or all sorts of things. So we have these worlds. For many years, we have connected globally in various ways, and in schools now there is a good use of virtual collaboration in different ways, whether that be something like Skype, whether it be a special educational learning environment where children are coming together, or whether it's something like this, which is Adobe Connect. We also have many schools popping up virtually, or a combination of a virtual school and a physical school. This is one example that's proving to be quite popular amongst the mathematicians, the Khan Academy. But I think in the end, there's a challenge to be considered about the value of the human teacher and the need for human interaction. And you will hear me talk about this. And don't worry, I will talk a lot about 3D as well. For many, many years as well, we've been involved in multi-user virtual experiences, multi-user virtual games, things like Second Life, avatars, people know what those are, the Sims, all sorts of different things. This is now something that is present in our lives and is understood by certainly a number of the children and a number of the adults. So the concept of working virtually and in virtual space, and possibly not working with such a true real thing, but to the children, as Anne said earlier, a real thing like the heart, the virtual heart, they are very used to working in these sorts of environments. The key thing as well, though, now is the expectation. And the expectation of the children is for very high-quality graphics. High-quality graphics, high-quality performance, fast, quick, and very effective. So we have come through, I think, a stage of very grainy and blurry imaging. And it's very important, I think, for the software manufacturers to know, and I'm sure they do, and the ones that I've worked with really do understand, that the quality of the 3D model is very important. It's not like a movie you can take on your phone. It needs to have the detail. The teachers need it to be correct, the pupils want it to look good, and it needs to teach very quickly and very effectively. Mark Prensky is well known for his discussion of the digital immigrant teacher and the digital native child. And there's been much discussion, many books, many references made to this. I have had some issues where I have had digital immigrant teachers, and indeed, to some aspects of things, I'm a digital immigrant. But I must say, when it comes to 3D and 3D projection, my teachers already feel comfortable with projection. They feel comfortable with using different things in the classroom. So changing every 10, 15, 20 minutes, different activities. We started the project I will describe to you in the science department. So the glasses were not a problem. They were very used to safety glasses. So there was no threat. And they understood very quickly what was possible. And I chose teachers that were patient and teachers that would try. And then the other teachers watched. So we didn't have as much of a problem with the digital natives and the digital immigrants. But the children sometimes think in the classroom, and this has been said by young people, that being in a lesson can be like being on an aeroplane. You sit down, you sit still, you switch off all electronic devices, and you stare forward and wait. And this is what we need to change, so we have an integration. And for me, the strategy is really important. The digital immigrant for me is not a bad person, is not a weak person. It is a person with a fantastic ability, a fantastic brain, a very, very good teacher, but needs to learn to use the technology. The technology is useless if the brain isn't understanding how to use it. But also understanding that children of a very, very young age are now expecting that their lives contain technology. And it is not particularly special for them. We think it's special, they perhaps do not. So when I'm planning, I need to think about the health and safety, and I listened hard this morning to the possible issues with 3D. I have to say that in my school, I have had no illness, sickness, problem in that way, but we do not use the 3D for more than 10 minutes. And we only use it from age 11 through to 18 at the moment. So we use it well, and we change to other methods of teaching, and it works really, really well. I've had one girl, and she couldn't see it. She didn't feel ill, but it was her eyes, and literally it was not possible for her to see it. A bit like in English, sometimes I work with people who are dyslexic or have learning difficulty. So we gave her the plastic model. She was a bit upset that she couldn't see it, but we can't operate on her eyes. I have to have something that's effective, I have to have something that's sustainable, and it has to be a good cost. Now, this is my headmistress. She will not let me waste money. So I have to say there is a need, I have to make it something we can replace in years to come, and it has to be able to be used in different classrooms. So we have a laptop, we have a set of 30 glasses, we have a program for when we change the projectors, we say, are they DLP ready? Is it 3D? There's no extra cost. and we make sure that the classrooms are growing and increasing over years. I will not change all my projectors straight away. I don't have that sort of money. Very important to me, and I'll show you in a moment some of the things I want you to think about, is the way in which we control the 3D model. At the moment, it's with the computer, either trackpad, mouse, or handheld Bluetooth device. And I'll talk to you about the fact that I think that is going to change very, very quickly. It's very important for us to have innovation and to embrace the disruptive technologies. Sometimes people will say it's okay, we should keep it as it used to be. But you need to turn in your schools and in your authorities to the person who is the strategist that works with the finance and sell your idea. And there needs to be a strategy in place for investment in research and development and innovation, but not too much, because all the time the education must be very good. The most important people are the pupils and the teachers, and training them and making them rich and giving so much sort of information to those children in a very, very good way. So it's the strategy and looking forward as well that's very important, not just buying the 3D for now. And for me, I think it's important for us to think that actually now I have spoken about 3D for 3 years. And I know Texas Instruments and all of the suppliers have spoken a long time before that. It's very present. The children understand, the parents understand, the teachers can do it. And I think it's a time now that is right to actually move forward in small amounts. One of the other factors I think we need to think about, and if there are any slides here that you would like later on, don't worry about writing down. Texas Instruments have all power of my slides. They can have everything I've got. And I think they'll probably make it available through the college. One of the things that's very important is motivating the children to be with the school. In this sort of school, and possibly in my school, we have at the moment a great privilege that the children are well behaved, they come, they want to learn, etc. But around the world, there are many ways of choosing education, and this will increase. There is a China 2020 strategy, which I would ask you to look at if you have not seen it. And there are many other global country areas that are increasing their focus on education, but they are not just increasing their focus physically. They are not just saying, come to China, learn and do your university course in China to the children in the UK or France or Germany or Turkey. They are also saying, we will be online, do our online course. And the children will have a choice of virtual and physical worlds already. The dropout rate for children who are finding some schools not interesting, not what they want, is very, very high. And it is children who want to learn. They're moving to another place to learn at the time that they can choose. And I think sometimes this is very sad because the culture and the community in their area is very important. And it's lovely to travel and learn, but also it's important to grow in the place that you began. So I think the dropout rate, combined with the physical change in education across the globe, the travel, we have children in our school that want to go to America, China, Asia, Germany to do university. They're not choosing a UK university, and I'm sure in Germany they're choosing to go elsewhere. But the virtual offering as well, the ability to do online courses as well as travel, as well as other things, is very interesting. And I have spoken to my managers about the fact that I worry that in the UK we have compulsory education to the age of 18, and I can see there are some children will sit and think, I will wait till 5 o'clock, then I will begin to learn. And that's something we need to plan for. And I think things like 3D education, extra interest, extra learning, extra enjoyment, quicker learning, more effective is very, very important. Also very important is the personalization of learning. Learning on mobile device, the ability to use a mobile device one-to-one in a classroom, bring your virtual space with you into the classroom, may not be for all schools right now across the world, but it will be very, very quick. The desktop PC is dying and dead in some places. So these are the things that I think about when I'm looking at what we're using in school. Every year, I download this document. Sometimes it's written in America, and sometimes it's got some parts that are not relevant. Usually for me, 70, 80, 90% of the document is relevant, and it's very, very good. Electronic books and mobiles will be very different in a year. Augmented reality, which many of you will probably be using now, game-based learning, 2 to 3 years. Gesture-based computing. We have hardware that has the internet in it. The projection brings the world into our room. And I have to say, some of you have not been able to see the 3D projection. When you actually see a beating heart that is 3 meters by 3 meters, so close you can touch it, and blood rushing through it, it is so very different in an experience. But also when you switch that off and you go back to your wonderful teacher who is bringing out the information and developing your skill, it's the combination of that that's very important. So please, I must urge you, if you have not seen that vision of the 3D model, please do make sure that you see it before you go. We had to make choices across the years, and sometimes I get scared, I can get frightened, spending quite a lot of money on sets of machines or sets of laptops and different things. And we are familiar, I think, in business and industry with the Geoffrey Moore crossing the chasm theory, and I have taken that leap so many times. Sometimes I've fallen down the hole. But yes, the first leap I made with 3D was in 2010. Well, just before that, I worked with Texas Instruments to try it out, to see if it was okay. And what we did was we wanted to try it better. So we were the first school with another school locally to try it outside of the US. There'd been a fantastic research project at the University of Illinois, and it had shown it had made a big difference. But TI are very much a research company, and they want to make sure, so they wanted to put it out globally and try again. I made one rule, that I would try it, but I'm only a teacher. I'm not a researcher, and I said that you must find somebody, and they did find our fantastic professor, Anne Bamford, to do the quantitative research. So this was the stage at which we tried it out, and we just tried it out to see if actually the projector would work, the software would work, the glasses would work, and over the years, we've said, can you change it? Will you make it better? And I've seen companies invest so much time in education. One example I would like to give are the glasses. The glasses that you hold are far, far different to the ones that I used to work with. The first ones we used were absolutely dreadful. They did the job, but they were designed for theatre, and everybody looks forward in the theatre. In a classroom, you turn to a child, you look at your book, you look out the window, you look up, and every time the projector was syncing with the glasses and the flicking, flick, flick, flick, flick, flick. It was terrible. Within 2 weeks, the company had made the changes in the processor, sent me a whole new box, and it was such a difference. Today, I've only just found out that there is a new model. Isn't there always a new model? And this model has Bluetooth, and it will work with a laptop, with a television, with all sorts of things. And it fits better. There are 3 sizes for small heads, medium heads, and big heads. I don't know if anybody will say, can I have one for big heads? But certainly from my perspective, this has been very quick. and the companies are dedicated to the education market. So I will be buying 3 of these from Expand later this week. We then went on to run the whole project like the 8 countries and were one of the team. And it was fantastically successful. It's worked very, very well indeed. My head of science, Ros Johnson, who's there, would not have a different whiteboard. She wanted her marker whiteboard. Don't change anything, Kathryn. I'm going to teach as I want to teach, and we got the 3D in, and she absolutely loves it. The children love it, and the parents come in, and they think it's very, very special. The interesting thing was that we found the software companies were superb. We worked on this project with Amazing Interactives, and they could not have done more for us. Their product is excellent and did extremely good work on this project. But we found overall, working with all the software companies and talking to them, that although there was a range of models available, and this was 2 years ago, although there was a range of models available, there was a difficulty, and I'd like to talk to you about that a little bit later on. I've left one word out here, and I had to laugh earlier. And the children, and it's lovely to see the children, that's the point of all of this. The children were talking about their experience, and I thought it was going to be the first time that I had not heard the word. Every time I've had children see 3D projected models, they have said one word at some time, and then at the end it came, awesome. Always awesome. So I put amazing instead of awesome on here. It keeps your attention. The children really find it's a positive method, but I think that if you run this for half an hour, 30 minutes, 1 hour, it would be lost. It would not be a lesson. It would be a film. It would be edutainment. It would not be part of a planned quality lesson. So what I'm doing now is I have taken somewhat of a trial role, and I am looking at further things we can do. And if anybody is interested in this more, please do so. I have a very excited geography teacher. She likes Hurricane Katrina very much, but she finds it quite hard to teach because everything is flat. And in the classroom, she wants Hurricane Katrina coming around. And I've said to her that we could think later on about doing 4D, and I'll make it rain as well and put some wind in there. But the problem with her geography is the images are very flat, and hurricanes and depressions and weather systems are very difficult to teach in 2D. So we're working with the UK Royal Meteorological Society, and in this case we're working with Gaia Technologies, who have been absolute, everybody is superb, but Gaia have been very good. Time is money, and programmers' time is very expensive, and Gaia have agreed that they will look at bringing raw data, satellite data down, and building a particular model, but it is more interesting than that. And I have to thank the others for coming on board with what is going to be a very, very exciting project. We want to have a situation where the teacher can have the model, but they can make it their own. So you can have your own language, which some of the software already will do. You can choose different parts of the software, you can choose different models, but also you can build tests, and we want to go another stage further. So we want to give you the ingredients, we want to give you the parts, but we want you to be able to build very quickly and very easily a 3D environment for your children and your school. And that, I think, will be very powerful. Already, we are able to work with excellent graphics. We want to look at the assets. We want to use analytics. Data is very powerful, so you should be able to get feedback if the children would be doing tests. This could be on the cloud. It could be online in the future. I said I would make you think. You do not have to agree. It could be that I, at the Abbey in Reading, can collaborate here with the college, and we can go online, and we can work with something on the cloud in 3D. already, and I'll play you a little bit of this, but I'll not do all of it. You can have a look at, this is one example. Gaia has a template set of software. You choose the model, you make your own environment for 3D, but they will be working with us, and it's not me, it's a number of wonderful people. They will be working with us to take this further in the next year. Let me show you a little bit, but not all of it, and then you'll understand. This is a flash video file, so bear with me and I'll take it a little bit further on. And it should get a frog at some point. There we are. And the video will describe the way in which you can take the models, you can label them up. This is now, but I want to take it further. The quality is very, very high. You go very much in. That's the key thing. You have the option. So I'd recommend if you go on YouTube, that's there. That's where I pulled it from, and have a look, please. But hopefully, through TI's work, through the college's work, you will see what we're developing, because I will share all of what we are doing. The LIFE project that Anne ran with Texas Instruments in the 8 countries, we hope has an onward path. But the onward path is about community, and it is about all the people that want to be involved and can be involved. Teaching and learning is the core, the digital literacy, the digital fluency. These children are able to work in this medium, the capability and skills and the techniques that they have, but also a focus on looking at tracking, looking at assessment, analyzing the learning data. That's what I would like to see, that the models also contribute to that. When I started in 2010, I think Texas Instruments are so patient with me, because they talk to me and then I start to talk. And, oh, you could do that, and we could do this, and we could do that. Ideas pouring out of my head. At the very start, I said, what I want is a heart, and I want to take my hands and I want to pull the heart apart, and I want to move things around with my fingers, and I want to do that online with other schools at the same time. And they said, okay, let's start at the beginning. We'll do some 3D projection. But we are now ready to do the pulling apart. You will know, and I'll talk about the different technologies that are available for that. Again, Gaia are going to assist me. They talk to me about HD cameras and Xboxes, and I just say yes. Some of the older technologies are not older. They are going to be very, very useful. The interactive boards, possibly, and I've talked to a number of people here and in other places about the fact that I think the interactive board as a piece of hardware is gone. I will not buy another interactive whiteboard unless it's very cheap on eBay. But now I want projection and I want interactivity, but the community of the companies like Promethean and Smart is very, very important. The teachers are already in the virtual world. We just need to enrich this. And we can do with technologies like the pens that will write on 3D models, and very much the developments of gesture and voice and the ways in which we interact with the computer. This part of my slide is very old. I've shown slides with this on for probably 2.5 years. Augmented reality, layering of information. Remember I showed you the library at the beginning. This is just another method of flowing library to children and teachers. This sort of thing is bringing the interface, the split between the hard and the virtual, dissolving that. It's bringing it together. And I mentioned as well that I was very old, And I remember a film very much. People say to me, oh, Minority Report. I think, no, not Minority Report. I watched a film when I was very young that showed a man who was carrying data in his head, and he had to get to the point before his head exploded, and he made a telephone call, and he used gesture. Now, in 1985, this was space. It was not real. What are we thinking about now that is not real, that will be real? And then we look at something like this, which works with Google Earth. Take it quite far on. And this is an old film. This is 12, 14 months since I downloaded this film. So we would think when we're talking about the 3D model and how we will interface, how we will move the 3D model, it's going to be very, very quickly that will change. We have many technologies that are changing. Touch is something that's very important to all of us. Touch technology, I can see people on their iPads, their iPhones touching. Now, haptic will give you feedback. It will make it feel hot, cold, firm, rough. You will get feedback with your touch. There are many companies like Movea that are looking at the way in which the human interacts with the virtual world without the computer. And I would recommend their website. Gesture is very important. The remote control for television is nearly dead. We have a Samsung Smart TV where you can go onto YouTube and search and you'll see a lady going, "Hi TV," and the TV does what she says, and then she will gesture. So they're combining voice with gesture. What happens when we combine voice with gesture and a 3D model? We also have a situation where I was very interested to know that these glasses had a Bluetooth connection. I had a man in my office about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, talking to me about mind control. And I said, Star Trek, Star Wars, like the Force. I said, no, it's true, it's true. And it is very much, if you search, if you go onto any of the websites, there is a way of Bluetoothing your patterns of, let's say, your heart pattern. It's very simple. And the power is in the software at the other end. It's not necessarily the technology that has been for a long time, like 3D. It's been a long, long time. But we have the ability to control the software in many, many different ways. So if I then have a 3D model, and I can control it with my mind and my voice and my gesture, I'm a very clever woman. I will never do that. I will be dead before I will do that, I think. The one that is very interesting to me at the moment, and may not be the future, but it is interesting, is virtual retina display. So where we are projecting, and I am saying in my classroom, the heart is here. A virtual retina display puts down here, perhaps on glasses, a projector into the back of your eye. And it projects the image. So the image is mixed with the real image. And like a fighter pilot, it has a layer of clear information, and you are also seeing real life. Google goggles, you would think as well, the Google glasses that have been created. I saw a long time ago this particular contact lens and thought, that'll be a while. I read last week that the Pentagon has just bought contact lenses to test, to put different information into different eyes. The challenge, I think, for all of us as educators is 2, 3, 4 years from now, I will be thinking about what I need to buy. Right now, teachers are saying, switch off your cell phone. Switch off your mobile phone. Some schools say not. Some schools say switch it off. But what will happen when we've got the glasses or the contact lenses? How far do we control and how far do we work with the technology? Very quickly, with social networking, with Facebook, with all of these technologies, we cannot pretend to control. But the values, the family values, the school values, the education of the morals and the person and the child is the important thing. So they make the correct choice. They use the computer well. The tool is used well. And the things that are not good, they choose not to use. And that's a hard job, but we are teachers, and that is what our job is. So let me show you two films available again on YouTube. You can search for them. If you go for virtual retina display, you will get both of them. I won't show them all, but it shows the gadgets. And these are real-world gadgets that are not quite there yet, but nearly.
At CTEC Japan 2010, NTT Docomo exhibited the AI Walker. This is an action support system that combines a mobile phone and a compact head-mounted display. Using this system, you can display navigation and AI content while your phone is in your pocket.
So that can be used in the combination with the mobile phone to feed information into the eye. And the idea is that some workers may usefully have manuals with them rather than having to go back to the desk. It is being thought of as a real possibility. And then another similar.
At Brother World Japan 2010, Brother Industries presented the Air Scouter, a head-mounted transparent display that projects images directly onto the retina. This display uses the persistence of vision effect to project pictures onto the retina. It does this by shining a light at a level of brightness that's safe for the eyes and moving the light at high speed. The images projected onto the retina are recognized by the visual sense, making it seem as if they are floating just in front of the eyes.
So if you want to see more of that, YouTube is your place. Also to consider, and I'm coming towards the end of my presentation now, is the fact there is much research that has been done on the effect of the visual information coming into brains and eyes of young people and adults. And there are two aspects in particular this research looks at. One is the depth of the image, and the other is the perspective of how we're seeing the image. And very much looking at how the difference between children under 12 and adults did this. And it was found that it was around the age of 12, and Anne was saying 12-year-old is the time when you get that sort of change in the brain, and also in all sorts of other perception. It has been found that under 12 does not combine the information in the way an adult does. So we must be very careful to think about this as well as we're planning. And at the moment, research is quite small, but big film industries like Disney do take this into consideration when they're planning films for cartoons and all sorts of films for younger children. But certainly, again, that's something for you to have a look at and research. Also, Mark Prensky was very concerned even years ago about the social effect of screen and how much screen we have. Many books have been written on this. The removal of the human and the increase of the screen. I'm an inspector for schools in the UK, and I spoke to all of the inspectors in January. And the chief inspector, the big inspector, came to speak to me and said, I think we should do more research in this because the schools are asking children to do more screen time, Also, the children have mobile phones on the buses. They're going home, they have computers. We are setting homework. What is the effect of the screen time? Reflection, quiet, away from the computer. Sometimes a little bit of that is good. And also this man, Nicholas Carr, has written 3 books I would recommend to you. Book 1 is Does IT Matter? Many years ago. Book 2 was about the cloud, and that is called From Edison to Google, The Big Switch. But this book here, The Shallows, talks about how the brain physically changes when you use a computer a lot, and it's very, very interesting. So in summary, whatever you do, make it good for your school. It's a need that you have, but it is sustainable. It can keep going, and it is right. And our friend Albert Einstein, in his robotic suit, any fool can make something bigger and more complex, but it takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction. Thank you so much for letting me talk. I do appreciate that. Thank you.